Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another podcast discussion. Today I have with me Jane, Jane Nie. And a bit about Jane. First of all, Jane is a holistic life coach who is passionate about empowering female and other people of diversity. She has a master's degree in public health nutrition from Johns Hopkins University, and she is an associate certified coach accredited by the International Coaching Federation. Jane combines her coaching, nutrition, holistic well-being expertise to help individuals overcome challenges and achieve their full potential. She has cross-cultural experiences and is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. This drives her mission to help clients find clarity and discover their purpose and live their best lives. Jane's personalized coaching sessions, workshops, and group facilitation are designed to help inspire clients to dream big and break through barriers. Very impressive resume, Jane. This channel is about people who stutter and stammer. Excuse me. I apologize for the noise in the
No worries. I
background.
don't, yeah.
Yeah. So as I was saying, this channel is dedicated to people who stutter. And just tell you a bit about stuttering. What I believe, people may disagree with me. They may think I'm wrong, or they may think this is right or that's wrong. There's a lot of debate.
Yeah.
Fact is, no one really understands what stuttering is. Now, from my belief is, I stutter when there's various triggers, various causes, and actually, I've had a pretty I can't say bad. I've had a pretty stuttering week. Okay, I've stuttered a lot this week and still very, very tense in mind and body. So I yeah, I think we stutter. I stutter it's because distractions is one of them. I stutter because my brain feels unsafe. It feels unsafe for various reasons. There's perceived danger, and I want to keep this podcast focused on your area of expertise, where you can help me, and my friends who stutter. It's one of the reasons is because we are people pleasers. We are highly sensitive people. We please people. We want to keep people happy, and we're always worried that we're what the other person is thinking. Excuse me a second. Okay, sorry, we're having interruptions and background there from children.
I love that.
Yeah. Now, one of them is people pleasing, fear of what people are thinking, and I know that you work with minority women, and who have the lowest self-esteem. And would it be fair to say that people pleasing and a fear of what people think about them plays a part in their self-esteem? I mean, could you talk a bit about that?
Before I talk about that, I want to say that like I work with people, not only women and minorities, also like I say people of diversity because I don't want to kind of classify them as minority or majority, because when we say majority or minority, we are putting a label on them, and that label itself can make people feel there is a identity thing, like I'm superior, I'm less superior. And then this assumption that something is normal when we label people as majority and minority. And I would say people with diversity and like people who like stutter can be one of those group of people with diversity. So I work with people diverse because this group of people, sometimes they have a lot of internal beliefs and thinking patterns, behavioral patterns, as I said, people pleasing. They care a lot about how people are judging them because it's the society that's putting this stress on us, expectations on us. So a lot of times they're just trying to help people to see what are the things they care about and who they are in a sense, instead of what are the labels people are putting on them, what kind of judgment people are putting on them. So I want to say that it's really a way of discovering yourself and then discovering what's your value and feel that I'm whole already. And then I have this like unconditional value on this planet. And I mean, we are all equal. And with that, we can feel safer. As you said, when you don't feel safe, you stutter. So when we feel safer, we are more able to embrace ourselves, more able to live our best life. So that's my approach to it. And back to your question about self-esteem and people pleasing, I don't feel like there's a, so I wonder, why did you ask that question? Like, why did you want to figure out whether people pleasing is part of self-esteem?
Yeah, first of all, just going back to what you said about being whole, and I think you've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
People who stutter, and maybe other people who are diverse, and it is a diversity actually. It's a disability, and I know many people who stutter will say it's not a disability, but I think they're doing themselves a disservice by saying it's not.
Mm.
You're pretending it's not, and then when you speak to someone, there's a issue there. So first of all, if you can accept it's a diversity, at least it's a disability, it means that people around you will be to forced to accept, will be forced to acknowledge it, and they cannot discriminate then. If you say no, I'm fine, but then you stutter, so then they can discriminate against you, and then there's no recourse, there's no legal HR, whatever. There's no recourse for that, and we're actually harming the whole stuttering community. So yeah, and then the second thing you mentioned being whole, and I feel people who stutter are always think they're not enough. They're always trying to do something to become enough, overcompensate in a way, and the overcompensating, in other ways, people pleasing is overcompensating, isn't it? So this is why I try to focus on this. I had a bad stuttering week. On Monday, I could hardly talk. On the telephone, I could hardly talk, and then I so yeah. We'll get these looks from my wife, and looks of sympathy. But and on, but I tried not to beat myself up. I said, I don't know why this is happening just now, but it's happening, and no amount of beating myself up will change it. So I kind of got through the day. Tuesday, I I could talk better, and I don't know why. It's not something I did. I didn't go home and hypnotize myself. I just went home and I had my dinner, spent time with family, went to sleep. Next morning I was fine. So there's no reason at the time. So what I did last night, I went for a long walk by myself to figure it out. And what I figured out was I realized on Monday I was so concerned about what people think of me. There's various things that are happening in my life just now. There's various life changes which I'm going through, which I can't always talk about on the podcast. But yeah, I did care what people thought of me, and that manifested in real tension in my mind and body. So accordingly, yes, I was overcompensating subconsciously. So this is why I thought I'm going to speak to Jane on Saturday. Let's get this nailed out. So this is why I asked about people pleasing.
Yeah, first of all, it's amazing. You already have this self-awareness and you're aware. And then you also have the self-acceptance. I think that's always the first step. Like you're aware that what triggers you and how you feel. And you really attend to your feelings and you accept that you are struggling instead of beating yourself up. So I think it's already a very great progress. And it's very normal for humans to care about how people are judging them because we are social animals. That's how we keep ourselves safe. Like people, we want to be feel the sense of belonging within a group. So it's very normal, and we can never get rid of the the feeling of that want to care about how people are judging me. But sometimes it's about what's your intention for your day, what's your intention for yourself, and what's your intention for your life. And whether that caring about other people's judgments that getting in your way of expressing yourself or getting in the way of living your life. And then I think about at each moment, we are free to decide how we want to behave and what we want to do. If that caring is not allowing you to express yourself in the way you want, and then maybe let it go. It's not like it sounds like easy, just one thing, but it's hard to implement it. That's why we need to kind of get through the emotions and really discover what's behind the emotions. What was I trying to express? Am I suppressing myself? So I was reading the book by Louise Hay, and she said a lot of times like stuttering is because of lack of self-expression or not allowing yourself to cry. And so it's really about how are you going to make yourself feel safe to express yourself and give yourself opportunity to express yourself and knowing that your voice is valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, I think what you've said is very important about, expressing yourself and not really caring. And you did acknowledge it's difficult. Consciously, it's difficult not to care because it's hardwired, like you said, because we're social animals. And talking about the value of your own voice. Um, and a lot of stutterers as they get older, they they stutter less, or sometimes it just, I can't say go doesn't never goes away, but they what they call in the stuttering world is they spontaneously can recover. Um, I don't think they can recover because it's hardwired within us. We're highly sensitive people who stutter, but what I think it doesn't bother them as much.
Mm.
It doesn't bother them as much is because what you said is they find their voice, they find their value. I think by the time they're in their 50s or 60s or whatever, they've achieved so much in life that they know who they are. So they don't need to rely on the world to tell them who they are. Then again, when you're in your teens and your 20s, whatever, you don't actually know who you haven't probably not achieved your potential yet. You're still on the way. So you need other people to essentially tell you who you are. And you're more dependent on views. And then, you know, you know, I've stood up in front of audiences to talk and I couldn't talk. And when I think back, looking at that person, he was so affected. He was so in his head and he was so affected by the crowd. And what do these 30, 40, 50, 100 people think of me? And it's too much pressure for a person who stutters.
Yeah.
And and to me, stuttering can perhaps be a message to me that right now you are thinking too much about what people think of you. Yeah. You don't have your inherent value just now. So it's like a warning signal to me about what's going on. And this is why I think it's futile. I did a YouTube short yesterday about working on the effects to change the effects. You can't change an effect by changing the effect because if the cause is still there, if you haven't even looked at it. And I think one of the causes, as you said, is this hardwired being too concerned. Um, which brings me on to my next point is how do we address it? So we've identified it, uh, which actually can take a lifetime. So we've done it now, but how do you deal with it?
Why do you want to deal with it?
Why do we want to deal with it? Do we want to deal with it to solve it? If we can, if we've identification is one thing, but I mean, I suppose the question then is, can we solve it? Is it solvable? Uh, can we stop caring about what people think? Can we stop pleasing others? Um,
Why do you want to stop caring about how people are thinking about you?
well, to stop our symptoms, from the perspective of stutterers, to stop stuttering, or to stop having this. And I was on the phone on Monday to someone, and I was trying to say something, and I can't replicate it now because um it's so insidious. It's referred to as the real face of stuttering, which you probably don't want to see. And I was like, I can't seem to say this, and I thought, what the hell? Um, so so how do we deal with to stop feeling that way?
How will your life be different if you don't stutter? How will you as a person be different if you don't stutter?
Um, Let me qualify something. My channel is called Embrace Stuttering. So if I say I want to stop stuttering, I'm being hypocritical. So stuttering, I would say, is fine. Okay, stuttering is fine. I don't want to label it as bad. I don't want to give it any meaning. But what I mean is, how do we stop the the blocks from coming, the holding back from coming? Maybe I should have qualified my question. I don't want to stop stuttering, and I don't think anyone it
Yes.
would affect anyone, because if I'm stuttering to you now, I'm probably stuttering just now. But if I'm stuttering now, as long as I can communicate with you or anyone is fine. But how can we deal with a cause to stop holding back our emotions and speech, which is speech blocks? How do we stop holding back?
As you were saying, you said you were stuttering when you were talking to me. I didn't notice that at all. So that's one thing, the first thing. What you are thinking people are thinking of you is not what really people are thinking of you. What do you think people are noticing and not really what people are noticing? So that's the first thing. So a lot of times we care about how people are judging us, but we have to remember that every person has their own like backgrounds, way of thinking, way of behaving. And even you speak the same language, every person, you speak the same kind of speech, every person have different judgments. So it's not really depending on us, how they are judging us. It's depending on their own way, like their own universe. Everyone is a tiny universe. So like everyone sees things from their own lenses. So it's really about them. Then that determines how they are thinking of you. So it's none of your business. That's the first kind of angle I'm approaching it. The second thing is when I'm speaking and when I'm presenting, I love doing public speech. I'm thinking about how am I serving them instead of how they are judging me. So the focus is on providing value. Its focus is on what's my intention for today instead of focusing on how am I showing up and to show myself, like show off or to show I'm valuable. So the focus wasn't on myself. It's all about the others. And that help you to take off the burden of thinking about how they're judging me. Because as long as I'm providing value, I think that's important. And a third thing, if you are nervous about a speech, everyone does. Public speaking is one of the most scary things for people. And they just practice and you rehearse ahead of time and you feel more confident when you're doing the speech. So this is a very practical strategy. And yeah, was that helpful?
It's definitely helpful, but giving value rather than being selfish and thinking all about me, me, me. When I said that, I'm probably struggling now. um, I don't know what I meant. Maybe my stuttering is distinguished from blocking by repetitions. Okay, and I don't know the cause of it. They say it's something to do with neurological processing of speech muscle memory, and it is a real disorder. Some people develop it in childhood, others suffer a stroke accident, and they cannot process words. Now, from my own reading and my discussions with various experts, I've come to my conclusion that the reason we stutterers have stuttering blocks is of course thinking about what other people think or worrying about them. Okay. Or of course you should care about people, but not to the detriment of yourself. And now if I can go a bit deeper, they care about people think, and what specifically what will they think if I stutter? Okay, so if I'm talking to you, Jane, I'm talking to you, and I think, what will Jane think if I stutter? She'll think I am perhaps not mentally all there. Perhaps I'm a bit stupid, or perhaps I'm nervous, or whatever. So, if I'm going to say your name, for example, Jane, and I don't want to stutter on Jane, and the subconscious mind thinks, okay, I'm going to protect Hassan, I'm going to protect him. It stops me from saying the word at all, which is the block, which I can't even move forward. So, someone told me once that stuttering is what we do when we try not to stutter, or blocking is what happens, holding back is when we don't want to stutter. So this is why I thought about it, and I called my channel Embrace Stuttering, because if I'm going to say Jane Nie and I can't say it, and if I just want to do a pretend stutter here, Jane, people are scared to do that because they appear as stutterers when they are stutterers. Do you follow me? And their fear is so intense that it translates to the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind, the amygdala, whatever, says, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to stop you from stuttering, stop you from saying the word. So this is why I call my channel Embrace Stuttering. Even the word ni, you can still say it. San, say it. So that's my philosophy. That's the purpose of my channel. And from from your perspective of what you said, do you think that makes sense, or do you think Hassan, I think you should do it a different way? What do you think?
I really admire your effort of doing this podcast and burst stuttering. That's something I really advocate for. So to me, any like personality or any trace of yourself is just part of you. Like I have brown eyes, I have blue eyes. It's all same. And I understand that practically some people label as disabilities to protect themselves. And I just feel like this self-acceptance, embrace stuttering is really the first step. And I also really admire that how you're trying to help other people who stutter to embrace stuttering as well, because that's very important. It's to me, I mean, English is not my first language, so I first started speaking English. I have similar problems stuttering. I couldn't find the words to express myself. And then I realized that what people really care about is not how good I was speaking, but whether my message was providing value. That's why I took on a career in communications, even though English wasn't my first language. And there are so many people supporting me along the way. I'm just so grateful for that. That's how I grew from it, and knowing that I could provide value And like either stuttering or not finding the right words is not as important as the value message I'm like telling and conveying. So just that's my feeling. And I see that you are embrace stuttering, but at the same time, you also want to find the blocks to it and want to improve it. And that's fine. But I want to know how your life would be different if they have some improvement. So it's not like contradictive actually. When you accept something, you still want to improve it. That's our life. Like we should keep growing. But just still, I'm curious, like how will your life be different if you speak better and yeah.
I wouldn't speak better. I want to start a more openly.
Mm,
And if I could be more myself, more self-accepting, stutter openly, that would result in less blocks, I think.
mm.
I think the blocks are the most, I would say, painful, the painful aspect of stuttering, when you cannot move forward. And how life would be different. Since I've embraced stuttering, life is different because I'm happy I don't spend uh, as much brain space worrying and doing things about it. But if I can achieve total acceptance of myself and my stutter, whatever, openly stutter a lot, and I think that would help.
How would you feel when you totally accept yourself?
Totally accept myself. I think I don't know. I've never been there, so I don't know. I don't know how I would feel. I don't think I can ever totally accept myself, um, but if I can deal with the big episodes, like for example, the life change, something that's happening in my life, I'm on high alert. My brain sees kind of danger, and if I can just reduce my base level tension and feel safer overall, I think it'll happen anyway as I get older. And I realize that life is just a joke or a game. And we have our ups and downs, swings and roundabouts. So um I don't know. I'm now in my mid 40s, so I don't know how life would be different. I think it'd be similar, but maybe even less worrying about people thinking.
If it's similar, why do you want to achieve that stage? Yeah.
I think I know where you're headed with this. What you're saying is life is lived in the present, in the now.
No, that's not my intention actually.
Okay, yeah, I think I suppose I don't want to do anything then. I do have a competitive streak within me. I compete with myself. I I always I always want to be better than I was yesterday. So maybe that's another thing. Yeah. Um. Monday could have gone wrong if I was the same mindset as I was a couple of years ago. I would have ruminated a lot, and the one bad day would have become 2 or 3 bad days, weeks and months. So I would have had a bad streak, would have spiraled down. So maybe that's progress.
Of course, you're making a lot of progress along your life. If you look back 10 years ago and now you must have made a lot of progress. I'm just curious, what's the ideal life looks like for you? Like what does it look like for you when you totally accept yourself and what's your life like? Just visualize it. How
Mm.
does it feel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would feel good. I think I'd be the same version of myself everywhere that I am in a comfortable place. So I'd be the same version of me. So I think that's what the ideal. I mean, logically, speaking to one person or speaking to yourself and speaking to 1,000, 10,000 people, it should not be any different.
Yeah.
because we're the same person. And it's just like, we allow external events, external things to change, um, to change what we do. Symptoms, stuttering is a symptom. And even on webcam, on video calls, at the end of the day, you're speaking to a computer. You're speaking to little boxes on the screen, and it shouldn't, in theory, affect you. Speaking on the telephone, you're speaking through an inanimate plastic object, and this is, I suppose, it's all tricks of the mind. Yeah, yeah. So that's all I can say. I mean, I'll come back to what you said. The ideal life for me would be to be the same version of myself, just complete presence, authenticity.
Mm.
Who I am, I'm just being authentic.
Can you still be the same version of yourself, and can you still be your authentic self even though you stutter?
Yes, absolutely, and absolutely, and not being afraid of it, not being afraid of reactions of people. Um, and it's a lot more difficult to do in when you're younger. It's a lot more difficult because you haven't seen the world yet,
Mm.
and we live our lives through the eyes of other people. We see ourselves through the eyes of others, and we're so indoctrinated by parents that you need to live your life a certain way for the world to accept you. And it's and what I will say is life is different in my 40s than it was in my teens and 20s and 30s even. It is it's totally different. I don't worry about small stuff, and um yeah. That's what I think.
So are the young people who don't care about what other people are thinking of them? Are the young people who are living the authentic life and being the same version of them all the time?
Very good point. Maybe I'm projecting myself as younger. I was a highly sensitive person who cared. There are young people who are rebels, confident, and but in saying that, stuttering is one symptom of many. People can get different symptoms. I mean, young people who who are worried about people's opinions, or people's judgments, they can have eating disorders, they can have skin conditions, they can have irritable bowel symptoms, other symptoms. It just happened for me. It happened to be stuttering, unfortunately. But there's a variety. I mean, they can pretend they don't care. I mean, I was also rebellious in my teens. I was a rebellious stutterer. But if I didn't have stuttering, you could have thought he doesn't care. I think everyone cares to an extent.
So are the old people who also care a lot about how other people are judging them, who also have other symptoms from this kind of fear of judgment?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But the older people get, the more they speak their mind, and the more they appear unbothered. So I think age age helps. I've met older people who stutter, but their stuttering is actually just pure stuttering. There's no baggage behind it. There's no weight. You don't feel the tension that they cannot. They don't struggle. And the ones I've met, they may be older people who have had brain injuries who do have stutter, but yeah, the older people I've met are, I mean, the elderly. They do have, they do stutter, but perhaps not the struggle type behavior. So yeah.
So what does it have to do with you, whether other people are older or younger, stuttering or not? Like,
A good question. We were. I just since we're talking about the effect,
Yeah.
the cause of stuttering, we just and this channel is for my stuttering community. So there are some older people who listen to this as well. So I just thought we would we would address those issues as well. Um, yes, so it's been a very interesting discussion. I've learned a lot. You know, I've been on your website, and I know the kind of work that you do, and I think you're doing a very important job about empowerment of people and helping people find their true voice, and also know their value. Uh, and I was walking yesterday and in the evening, and I heard a voice from within me just say, "Remember who you are."
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes you can distinguish your own thoughts from a voice. Have you ever had that? You ever had, yeah, you know, there's a voice coming from somewhere, and it's not my voice. It's a message coming from somewhere. And they just said, "Remember who you are." And after the week I've had, and I think that was a message to me. And I feel that if I'm in a quiet place, I'm giving my subconscious or whatever the opportunity to whisper the message to it, the answer. Because the answer isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's a faint whisper. And you need to leave your mobile phone at home and leave technology at home and just be with yourself in solitude and find the answer. And I thought I'm going to discuss this with Jane on Saturday morning, and see what she thinks. And yes, so I've taken a lot from our discussion about this, about your own value, knowing your own value. So would you have any comments on that and your thoughts? Any final closing message for people who
Yeah.
are afraid of the world?
I was asking a lot about why would you want to improve yourself, because I want to find your intention for your life, your intention for this podcast. Because sometimes when we connect with our intention, our life purpose, we are more motivated and we have more courage to express ourselves, and we don't get held back by the fear. So courage is not about not having fear. Courage is about doing the right thing, even though we have the fear. So like it's the same about stuttering. It's like when we have blocks, it's because we are trying to achieve something, but we feel like we are stuck by something, like we're held back by something. But like having a courage to continue, maybe skipping the word or just continue expressing yourself, even though you're stuttering, instead of like making a block for the like later conversations. So that's one thing I was asking about your intention. And then another thing is everyone has a unique purpose on this world. I believe that stuttering serves you as a purpose as well. And just trying to find a value, like how does stuttering make you you? And what kind of opportunities has it brought to you? Like I feel like sometimes when I show my vulnerability, I'm closer to people. It brings me a new connection for me with other people. And also see I work with people of different diversity. A lot of times I see them as stronger and they have more resilience. And like you have more self-awareness. And I think all the things are meant to make us who we are, meant to make us to serve a life purpose to other people. You wouldn't be starting this podcast to help people find their value and find their voice if you didn't stutter. So maybe that's your purpose. And so knowing your purpose and knowing that everything happens to you for a reason, you just need to find that. So that's why I also use coaching to help people find their life purpose and make sense of their life. The third thing is I want to share an observation that during our conversation, if you don't mind, I feel like you have some limited belief about what is achievable. Like if initially you said you don't think that it's possible to completely recover from stuttering. And is that true? I mean, I don't have the data, but you can look for the data. And the second belief is you feel like it is an age thing. I can get older, you get better. But when you're young, it's almost feel very difficult to do that. So that's why I challenge you, whether they're old people, young people, how does that matter? So sometimes we have to be very conscious about these beliefs. It doesn't matter whether beliefs are right or wrong, but whether these are serving us, whether these beliefs, whether they are hindering us moving forward, are they helping us moving forward? If it's not helpful, just let go of the belief. Like, I believe that whatever I have, I can completely recover from that. There are a lot of magical things happening, like cancer patients recover fully. So as you have to believe in that. Your belief, like your thoughts are very powerful. I know you're spiritual, so you know the power of your thoughts, you know the power of your mind. You have the intention, you have the belief, anything is possible. Whatever you ask, it will be given to you. So you have to first believe that you can achieve that. And like you said, you want to be the same version of you at any point, any situation. Can you achieve that now? Why do you have to wait until you totally accept yourself that you then can achieve it? Why not achieve it now? Just practicing being the same version of yourself, being authentic. So anything can be unconditional. You sometimes you feel like today is the next step for the next thing. I have to achieve something so that I can achieve that. So we're putting a lot of rules on ourselves, on our life. We are putting a lot of how things should happen, how each step should follow another step. But sometimes we don't have to follow all those step by step. We can just go achieve the end goal and knowing that that's important to us. Yeah.
That's really well said. I completely agree with you. I'm not going to comment on what you said because it's recorded and people can listen again. And I think if I try and interpret what you said, that will not do your wise words justice. I think vulnerability, yes, everything I've achieved in life, the biggest things I've achieved, the best, more fulfilling things are because I showed I was vulnerable and people saw the real me. If you try and hide myself, hide my stuttering, they'll know he's hiding something, but they don't know I'm trying to be a normal fluid person. So yeah, I agree with you. Um, I think life is a journey. I know in the spiritual world, we can get it now or just believe it and you'll get it. Yeah, I yeah, I do believe that to an extent, yes. But I feel that once you go through a journey and then get it, there's more value to it. So I'm happy experiencing everything, experiencing the pain, and I experienced it alone. There was no one with me on Monday. I went through the pain alone, and this is why, as a reward, I got the message yesterday evening during my walk. Remember who you are, and I did remember who I am, and I think next Monday will be better, because I went through a lesson. So this is why, for me, the journey is important, and all feelings, emotions, thoughts, everything is important, and I don't try and push anything away, even the blocks, the real face of stuttering. I was happy to see it, and it's in its full glory. Not happy. I can't say I was happy to see it, but I was okay with seeing it. Because that reminds me, if I don't stay on my path, on my journey, that's what's waiting for me at the other end. There's a demon, and not demon. Sorry, I don't like to label things as bad, but I'm saying is there's pain waiting for me if I don't embark on this path. So I've got to stay on my path of, like you said, authenticity, vulnerability, acceptance, embracing. Does that make sense?
And I didn't feel you were stuttering at all during the whole conversation. Like I didn't notice that at all.
Okay, maybe I need to stutter more now.
No, I was just saying that because we're putting labels on ourselves.
Yeah. Mm.
But
Yeah.
what if you just take off that label?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. There's a part of me maybe which doesn't want to, uh,
Mm.
there's a part of me which I still need to find actually. So I'm not quite ready to discard that part yet. And talking about labels, the community has changed the label from stutterer to person who stutters. So you're a person first before anything, but you happen to have a stutter.
Yeah.
Just so that's I think that's a step towards removing labels. So I think it's a positive thing.
I think the work should be on the society to remove these judgments on people who stutter instead of people who stutters are suffering from the discrimination. It's the same way when I'm working with other people of diversity. I think it's a society change that we need to push forward on how to embrace more diversity of different people, creating a better environment for them, knowing that what kind of environment will help them like I know people who sometimes do interviews. We ask people what's the best way to interview you, like for neurodiversity, divergent people, like how would you perform best? So creating that kind of supporting environment for people to speak, for people to express themselves. That's what I advocate for. Instead of trying to make those people push themselves hard and trying to be not the authentic self and to pretend that they're someone else. So I think the real change comes from acceptance from the society, and then the people who are of diversity can feel safer to be themselves, and then they are more able to just use their talent elsewhere, put their energy on the things that really matter, instead of putting energy on making themselves look more similar to other people on this planet. So I think that's the end goal.
I think you're right. The difficulty there, Jane, is that if you're on a wheelchair, anyone can see you're on a wheelchair. Okay, there's no question of hiding or acceptance. If you're blind, it's pretty obvious you're blind. If you're, you know, hidden disabilities,
Yes.
like dyslexia, autism, stuttering. I think the onus is on us at the moment to first of all accept it ourselves,
Yes.
then be our own advocates. See, this is the problem. If we pretend that there's no problem, because there's all the stuttering people I've met are always trying to do something to they always trying to do something to fix it, looking for fix. And I think that attitude carries on into working life. They're saying, like you said, like for example, what you said to me just now, which you may have said a surface level. You said, no, don't put a label on yourself. All right, no, don't consider yourself stubborn. Just accept you can recover. If I do that, I'll be going into work. Someone asked me, Sam, do you have a disability? And I can say, nope, nope, I'm totally fluent. I believe it. Then 2 days later, I can't say a word. There's a cognitive dissonance there. So this is why, for now, we need to accept the label.
Yeah, I think so you can mentally not putting yourself that label, but practically use that label to protect yourself. So I think it's two layers of strategies here. It's how you operate in the physical world and how you operate in your mind, in your heart.
Yeah, that no, that makes sense. That makes sense. A lot of jobs, most jobs, every job, one of the criteria is you have to be an excellent communicator. Now that puts pressure on people who stutter. If we don't disclose that we have a stutter, and then we start avoiding phone, we start avoiding people, we start to avoid stuttering. That is actually can be grounds for disciplinary action or grounds for dismissal because you're not communicating. So, there are there are good and bad employers. If the employer is bad, they will use it as an excuse. You're not communicating. Um, if you haven't told me you're a stutterer, okay, they will know. People know there's a problem. People know you start. But if you don't accept it, they'll say, well, you're not using the phone, so this is disciplinary. But if its employer is good, you need to help them help you by
Yeah.
advocating for yourself and for people of disabilities of neurodivergence. So that's just my 2 cents.
I love that. It's definitely challenging in the current society. And like how you said, help people to help you and advocate for yourself. I think so that's important. And we always want to work for the good employer. So in that sense, having something that makes you special allows you to select the good employers. It's like another filter to help you not get into the bad employers. But yeah, we always need to help people understand us. It's not only people who started, but like in general, we need to communicate what we need, what can help us perform better. Because everyone has their own talent. I always believe that. Even people with anxiety and depression, they might go through periods of recoveries. And but at the same time, there might be people who have special talents. So we cannot discriminate them just because they have one aspect of things that seemed not as good as people expected. Mhm.
That's absolutely right. And as you said earlier, if we can bring this in the open, that'll allow us to focus our energies on other things that we can do.
Yeah.
And this is definitely better for long-term growth than trying to pretend uh, that doesn't exist, and then that'll just result in more withdrawing in the shell and more blocks. And it's been a very enlightening morning and a very good Saturday morning, and thank you so much for giving up your valuable time to speak to me. And I'm honored and grateful. Um,
Yeah.
um, how can people reach you? How can people contact you?
So they can go to my website or follow me on my social media, my LinkedIn and my Instagram. It's all Coach Jane Nie on Instagram. And the website is coachjanie.com. And then they also reach me via email, coachjanie@gmail.com. And you can put that on the link in the links in the on the channel as well. Yeah.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll also put your links on the description of the video as well. Okay. Thank you again. Thank you again for sharing your wisdom and your experience. And I've learned a lot. And you've forced me to introspect, and I think people who watch this will be forced to re-examine their thoughts and beliefs, and that can only encourage growth. If we keep repeating the same thing over and over, I think we won't learn anything. So we need to challenge ourselves and each other to grow. Um,
It's hard. So we are living in patterns all the time. We act on autopilot. That's why it's so important to have external eye as a coach to help you uncover the blind spots, because the blind spots can cost you a lot. And I just want to remind people to always know their intention for their life, know their purpose, and at every moment, remind them what's my purpose for this moment instead of focusing on how other people are judging them. Yeah.
yeah. I'll quickly add the purpose for this moment. If you have a moment where you perceive as bad, it's always possible to recover.
Yes.
And there's no need to spiral down, as I've done many times. And same with um it's this I don't mean when I say spiral down, I mean mentally. Just keep your I don't want to use new age language. Keep your frequency high or vibration high, but keep your
Manage high.
energy up. Yeah.
That's so there are two different strategies, which actually when I approach my clients for bad moments. At first I said you need to accept that it's a bad moment and you need to attend to emotions, embrace all those emotions. No emotions is bad. Every emotion is a message. And really get in touch with your body. Where do I feel the emotion? What does that part of body require for me?
Mm.
And what's the message there? Am I breaking my boundaries or things like that? And the second thing is the intention is about how do I want to feel? If I'm not feeling good right now, how do I want to feel? And what can help me to achieve that feeling that I want? And so that's also intention. And then it's once you can change your thought, you change your thought, you change your way of feeling. It's a self-coaching tool. So yeah. Mhm.
Um, and again, that is really good advice. Very good advice. Thank you for that. Okay, enjoy the rest of your Saturday and all the best. Bye.
Thank you.